I walked into the house a little earlier than usual that Thursday afternoon. Work at the firm had been slow, and traffic was surprisingly light. I wasn't trying to catch anyone off guard. I just wanted to surprise my wife with takeout from her favorite Thai place. 18 years of marriage, and I still found myself doing little things like that. Dumb, right? As I opened the front door, the scent hit me first. Not food. Not candles. Something sterile. Hospital-like. I stepped inside and caught sight of Kimberly, my wife, standing in the hallway, pressing the end call button on her phone like she had just been caught red-handed. She froze. "Oh hey, Josh," she said, voice all tight and fake casual. "Didn't expect you this early." "Yeah," I said slowly. Clearly, she had that look. That half-guilty, half-irritated look she gets when she knows she's been caught but already resents you for noticing. I set the bag of food on the table and watched her closely. Then I saw it, the small cooler bag on the counter with the words Midwest Reproductive Center printed on the side. "Kim," I asked, heart pounding, "what the hell is that?" She didn't answer. Not right away. Instead, she turned and started busying herself with cleaning up non-existent crumbs from the countertop. "Kim, look at me. What is that?" She sighed, like I was the one being difficult. "It's nothing you need to worry about, Josh. It's for my sister." I felt a chill creep up my spine. "Your sister? What do you mean?" Kim finally looked at me, eyes narrowed, defensive already. "Sophie and Nick have been trying to have a baby for years." "I told you that. You know that." "Yeah, but what does that have to do with you?" She crossed her arms and tilted her head like she was explaining something to a child. "They needed a surrogate," I offered. "You ever have that moment where your ears ring and the world slows down, like in a movie when the bomb's about to go off but no one's moved yet?" What? "I'm already a few weeks along," she said casually, like she'd just told me she bought new curtains. "And before you go full caveman, let me remind you, it's my body. My choice." I blinked. I couldn't breathe. I sat down. My knees weren't cooperating. "You're pregnant with your sister's husband's baby, and you didn't think maybe I should be part of that conversation?" She shrugged. "I knew how you'd react. You'd say no. You'd try to control me like always. So I did what was right." "What was right?" She went behind my back, lied for months, snuck around with medical appointments, had procedures, and now she was carrying another man's child inside her, and not just any man. "My brother-in-law." "You lied to me," I said, standing back up. "You lied for months." She scoffed. "Don't be dramatic. This is about family, about helping someone." I lost it. "Helping someone? You're carrying his kid. And don't give me that no strings attached crap. Do you realize what this looks like?" "Oh, come on, Josh. Grow up. It's a medical arrangement. Nothing happened between me and Nick." "Nothing happened?" I snarled. "You're pregnant, Kim." And then, as if the universe decided I hadn't had enough for one day, her phone lit up on the counter. A message from Nick. "Can't stop thinking about the other night. You looked incredible in that gown. Sophie has no idea. Red heart." My hands went cold. I looked at her. She went pale. For the first time, I saw fear flicker in her eyes. "You told me it was just about the baby," I said, voice barely above a whisper. Josh, it's not what you think." "No." I picked up the phone and held it toward her. "Then what is it, Kim?" She stared, mouth opening and closing, scrambling for a lie, a cover, a new excuse. But she had nothing. I stepped back, grabbed my keys, and looked her dead in the eye. This wasn't just betrayal. This was war. I didn't drive far. Just enough to get away from her voice echoing in my head. The message from Nick wouldn't stop flashing in my mind like some cursed neon sign. "You looked incredible in that gown." What gown? We hadn't been to any formal event in months. Hell, I hadn't seen her in anything fancier than leggings and oversized hoodies lately. She used to dress up for me. Now she was dressing up for someone else. Someone who just so happened to be her sister's husband. I pulled over at the edge of the park a few blocks away and just sat there, watching some kid try to fly a crooked-looking kite while my marriage disintegrated in my chest. This wasn't just betrayal. This was some twisted, layered soap opera nonsense, and I was the idiot holding the script upside down. I scrolled through her phone. Yeah, I took it. Sue me. She'd left it on the counter when I stormed out. I wasn't even thinking straight. I just grabbed it on instinct. And when I unlocked it, yes, I knew her password. Been the same since 2011. The first thing I saw made my stomach twist. More messages. "Nick, you make me forget what guilt even feels like." "Kim, we're already in too deep." Just a few more months and we'll figure it out. In too deep? Figure out what? I opened her photo gallery. There they were. Bathroom selfies in a hotel mirror. A wine glass. That same damn gown from the message, blood red, low cut, hugging her body like it was made for secrets. She was biting her lip in one of them, looking directly at the camera in a way she never looked at me anymore. And then a picture of them together. His hand on her lower back. Her eyes closed. I clenched the phone so hard my knuckles cracked. She hadn't just betrayed me. She'd planned this. Hidden it behind her heroic act of being a surrogate. She weaponized morality. I drove back home an hour later, expecting to find her crying or panicking. Instead, I walked into a kitchen filled with silence and the faint sound of a reality show playing in the background. Kim was sitting on the couch, scrolling TikTok like nothing had happened. "Oh, you're back," she said without looking up. "That did it. You really think you can gaslight your way out of this?" She looked at me, eyebrows raised. "Excuse me. I read the messages. I saw the photos." She stood up slowly, eyes hard now. "You went through my phone? You lied to me, Kim. For months. You told me it was just about helping your sister." Her face twisted into something sharp and cruel. It was. At first. Silence. Then she laughed. Laughed. "You want to know what changed? You. You haven't touched me in months. You're always tired. Always stressed." Nick made me feel seen. I took a step closer. "So you rewarded that by letting him into our bed?" "It wasn't our bed," she snapped. "It was a hotel. And it wasn't your business." I stared at her, completely stunned. "You're right," I said, my voice dry. "Because apparently this whole damn marriage stopped being my business a long time ago." She crossed her arms. "Don't act like some victim. You checked out years ago." "No, Kim. I just stopped chasing someone who already ran." She rolled her eyes. "So what now? You gonna cry? Throw me out? Make a big scene for the neighbors?" I shook my head. "No. I'm going to make this very simple." I walked over to the drawer, grabbed a manila envelope I'd prepped months ago when things started feeling off back when I didn't even know why I felt cold around her. I tossed it on the table. Divorce papers. Unfiled. Until now. Her mouth fell open. Not in shock, but in irritation. Like I just spilled wine on her dress. "You're overreacting," she hissed. "No. I'm finally reacting the way I should have from the moment you decided to carry another man's baby behind my back while screwing him on the side." The air between us turned to glass. She didn't apologize. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just scoffed and muttered, "Good luck finding someone else who'll put up with you." I grabbed my jacket. I was done putting up with her. The next day started with a knock on my door. I checked into a hotel after leaving Kim. I didn't want to be anywhere near that house. I didn't even take my stuff, just my phone, wallet, and enough rage to burn through the next decade. I wasn't ready for company. But when I opened the door, I wasn't surprised to see her. Sophie, Kim's older sister. The woman who supposedly couldn't have kids. The woman who was supposed to be the victim in this whole story. The woman I now saw in a completely different light. She looked wrecked, like she hadn't slept in days. Eyes puffy, makeup smeared, hair in a mess of a ponytail. I'd never seen Sophie look anything less than polished. Not until now. "Josh," she said quietly. "Can I talk to you?" I should have slammed the door in her face. Instead, I stepped aside and let her in. She sat on the edge of the hotel room bed, wringing her hands. "I just found out last night. Nick told me everything. About the messages. The hotel. All of it. All of it." I said, cold. "Because I doubt you know the half of it." She shook her head. "I thought Kim was just being generous. She told me you were on board. Said you supported the surrogacy." I laughed once, dry and humorless. "She told you I was on board while she told me nothing. That's Kim for you. Playing both sides until she burns down the bridge between them." "She lied to me too," Sophie said. "I trusted her." "Yeah, well, I married her. Guess we both lost." There was a pause, heavy and ugly. Then Sophie said something I didn't expect. "She's always been like this." That caught my attention. "What do you mean?" Sophie stared at the carpet. "Even when we were kids. She needed attention. Needed to be adored. If I had a boyfriend, she'd flirt with him. If I got good grades, she'd fake being sick to steal the spotlight. I thought she'd grown out of it. She just upgraded the game," I muttered. "From boys to husbands." Sophie looked at me, and for a second, I saw it. The exact same look of betrayal I saw in the mirror. Maybe she hadn't known. Maybe she really was a pawn like me. "She told Nick it was a one-time thing," Sophie whispered. "That she was lonely. That you were distant. I clenched my fists. So she used my exhaustion as an excuse to climb into bed with her sister's husband. Nice. Sophie looked up, her expression darkening. I kicked him out. He's staying with a friend. I filed for separation. I raised an eyebrow. That fast? She nodded. Because unlike Kim, I don't make excuses for people who betray me. That hit deeper than I expected. We sat in silence for a minute, both of us lost in the same storm. Then Sophie asked, "What are you going to do?" I looked at her, then out the window at the gray, overcast sky. "I'm going to burn it all down," I said quietly. "Everything she built on lies. I'm taking it apart, brick by brick." Sophie didn't flinch. She just nodded. "Let me know how I can help." And that was the moment something shifted. Kim and Nick thought they could play us like fools, lie, cheat, and walk away clean. But now they'd given their victims a common cause. And we weren't playing nice anymore. Back at the house, I returned only to gather proof. I copied files from Kim's laptop, emails, calendars, transactions. She wasn't just sneaking around emotionally. She had bank transfers linked to hotel bookings, Uber receipts at 2 a.m., Venmo payments with heart emojis sent to Nick under the name Yoga Coach. Yoga Coach, my ass. When she got home that night, she found me at the dining table with a folder full of her digital footprint. Her face drained of color. "What are you doing?" I didn't raise my voice. Didn't throw anything. I just looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Building my case." She scoffed. "You think you can take me down? This was just a mistake." "No," I said. "Cheating is a mistake. A one-night lapse. You built a relationship behind my back, funded it, protected it, and justified it. That's not a mistake. That's a campaign." She looked like she wanted to scream, but she didn't. Maybe because she knew I wasn't bluffing. Or maybe she finally realized I wasn't her punching bag anymore. I stood, folder in hand, and walked past her. "See you in court, sweetheart." The first court meeting was nothing like I imagined. I didn't walk in with fire and fury. No shouting. No slamming fists. I walked in with facts. Evidence. Screenshots. Printouts. A calm attorney named Rachel, who never once raised her voice but tore through Kim's lies like a surgeon with a scalpel. Kim showed up in full performance mode. Designer blouse. Flawless makeup. That fake vulnerable expression she used whenever she wanted sympathy. She even dabbed her eyes with a tissue before the judge walked in. It would have worked, too, if I hadn't come prepared. Rachel stood up first. "Your Honor, this is not simply a matter of infidelity. This is calculated emotional and financial deception. My client, Mr. Joshua Martin, has been lied to repeatedly by the defendant, Kimberly Martin, regarding both her extramarital relationship and her secret surrogacy, carried out without his knowledge or consent." Kim's lawyer, some overconfident weasel named Brent, objected. "The surrogacy was a private family matter and does not fall under marital fraud." Rachel didn't blink. Except for the fact that the surrogate arrangement included financial compensation, paid directly to an account Mr. Martin was unaware of. That's deception with financial implication. Kim's face tightened. Her mask cracked for half a second. That's when I knew we had her. I watched her squirm as Rachel presented the timeline of lies. Kim agreeing to be a surrogate without discussing it with me. Kim lying to her sister, claiming I was on board. Kim meeting Nick in hotels under the guise of fertility appointments. Screenshots of Nick calling her baby and praising her body in ways no brother-in-law ever should. Then came the clincher. Rachel turned to me, and I handed her the printout. The wire transfer from Nick, $5,000 labeled as "Thank you Kissmark." When Rachel laid that in front of the judge, Kim finally broke her silence. "That's not what it looks like." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Then please, Mrs. Martin, enlighten us." Kim stood. "It was just a gift. For everything I was doing. It wasn't romantic." Rachel flipped another page. "Followed 2 days later by a reservation for a luxury suite under your name, paid for by the same account." Kim's lips parted, but no words came out. I didn't gloat, didn't smirk. I just sat there and let her stew in the weight of her own chaos. The judge didn't make any decisions that day, but the tone of the case had shifted. Sympathy had left the building. The courtroom saw what I had lived with for years, an actress who finally flubbed her lines. Later that evening, I got a call from Sophie. "Tell me everything," she said. I did. And as I talked, something surprising happened. Sophie didn't sound bitter. She sounded focused. "I want custody of the child," she said. "That baby was meant to be mine, not born out of betrayal." "You really think she'll give it up?" "I don't want her to give it," Sophie said coldly. I want to take it. Legally. She broke every agreement. I have paperwork, emails, witnesses. You want to go to war? I already am, she replied. I didn't know what shocked me more, that Sophie was stepping into this fire willingly, or that I actually respected her for it. That night, I drove past the house one last time. Kim had changed the locks already. No surprise. I didn't need to go in. I didn't want anything from that house anymore. Except one thing. Buried in the back of the garage, in an old box labeled Josh's Crap, was the only photo I still cared about. Me and my dad at the lake when I was 12. My dad had passed 2 years ago. He'd always told me, son, you'll know who someone really is when the fire starts. Kim set the fire. Now I knew. And now, I was walking out of the flames, not burned, but forged. 2 weeks after court, Kim made her move. A flashy Instagram post. A soft focus photo of her smiling with her hand over her baby bump. Caption. Sometimes blessings come through unexpected storms. Thank you to everyone who supported me through this beautiful journey of giving life. Hashtag strong women, hashtag surrogate mom, hashtag love wins. The comments were sickening. You're so brave. Such an amazing sister. Can't believe Josh would walk out on this queen crying face. Nick and Sophie are lucky to have you. I sat at a coffee shop, phone in hand, stomach turning. She'd gone full PR mode, spinning betrayal into benevolence, turning our dirty truth into a fairy tale for likes and sympathy. She didn't just want to hurt me. She wanted to be the hero while she stabbed the people closest to her in the back. But she underestimated me. Again, I called Rachel. She's using social media to manipulate public opinion, I said. And she's painting herself as a saint. Rachel chuckled. Let her. The more she posts, the more she documents her own lies. I paused. Think it's time for a little truth of my own? Rachel didn't hesitate. Post the screenshots. I waited until evening. Then I opened my account. Been private for years, no real following. But this wasn't about likes. I posted a carousel of screenshots, messages between Kim and Nick. The hotel confirmations. The money transfers. Even a snippet of Nick's voice message that said, if Sophie finds out, I'm screwed. But I don't regret a second of what we've done. My caption was simple. You don't get to lie, cheat, and pretend you're the victim. I stayed silent out of respect, not fear. But since lies are trending, let's talk truth. Hashtag 18 years of lies, hashtag she was just a good sister, hashtag she was his lover. Within minutes, it exploded. People reshared it, commented, DM'd me. Some from people I hadn't heard from in years. Some even from Kim's friends, who now felt so betrayed by her. Of course they did. But the real message came the next morning. Kim showed up at my hotel. I opened the door and found her standing there with her arms crossed, sunglasses on, lips tight. Take it down. I leaned against the doorframe. No. You've humiliated me, she snapped. I laughed bitterly. Oh, you mean the truth humiliated you? Wild concept. This isn't just about us anymore, she hissed. It's about my reputation. My career. You think I can get brand partnerships with this crap floating around? I stepped closer. You cheated. Lied. Took money under the table. And you're worried about brand deals? Kim, you're delusional. Her jaw tightened. I'll sue you for defamation. Please do, I said, eyes locked. Because then I get to put all the rest in public court records. You want that? She didn't speak. She just stared at me, seething. Get off my doorstep, Kim. I shut the door in her face. The knock came again, harder, but I didn't answer. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about closure, taking back control, refusing to be the quiet, humiliated husband sitting in the background while she played saint. Later that week, I met Sophie again, not at the hotel, but at a lawyer's office. She was already deep into custody battles. Her lawyer handed me a document titled, Petition for Full Parental Rights, Gestational Surrogacy Violation. Sophie looked tired, but sharp. She's not raising that child, she said. She used my pain as her stage. That baby is mine. I nodded slowly. Then let's finish this. I didn't know where this road was heading. Maybe toward more legal fights, more headlines, more dirt. But for the first time in years, I wasn't surviving. I was striking back. And Kim? She had no clue how many more truths I was still holding. I didn't want to believe it at first. I mean, betrayal has levels. There's cheating. Then there's lying about carrying your sister's baby while sneaking around with her husband. But this would detonate everything. It started with an offhand comment from Sophie during one of our meetings with her custody attorney. She looked over a medical report and muttered, "These hormone levels don't line up with the embryo transfer date." I leaned in. "What do you mean?" Sophie looked confused for a second. Then her face went pale. She whispered, "Josh, what if she didn't use my egg?" Silence. She flipped through the papers, reading the hormone timelines and cycle tracking Kim had submitted as part of the surrogacy paperwork. They were supposed to use my egg and Nick's sperm. That was the agreement. But if these hormone levels are what I think they are, then she got pregnant naturally. My blood ran cold. "You're saying that baby might be hers?" Sophie nodded, slow and sick with realization. "No," I said. "No way. Kim wouldn't go that far." Would she? But I already knew the answer. Kim would go exactly that far. I ordered a private prenatal paternity test the next day. Cost me more than I wanted to spend. Took some backdoor conversations. But I still had access to her insurance info, and her recent OB/GYN visit gave me what I needed. It was risky. Probably illegal in 3 states. But I had to know. 3 days later, I got the results. Probability of biological maternity, 99.99%. Probability of biological paternity, 99.99%. Father, Nicholas Preston. Mother, Kimberly Martin. My knees buckled. She didn't just lie about the surrogacy. There was no surrogacy. She got pregnant the old-fashioned way, with her sister's husband, and spun it into a PR fairy tale. I sat in the dark with the envelope in my hand, thinking about all those nights she told me she was at Sophie's helping with nursery stuff, or just running late after a doctor's visit. All those nights she was probably with Nick. All those nights I was sitting home like an idiot reheating her leftovers. I stared at the results again. She was going to pass this baby off as her sister's. Use that lie for sympathy. Hide behind womanhood and sacrifice and sisterhood, while she was growing her own baby with another man inside her. And the world was applauding her for it. My fingers trembled as I took photos of the report and sent them to Rachel, then to Sophie. I didn't even need to add a message. Sophie called me instantly. Her voice was shaking. "She's dead to me," she said. "That child, she was going to hand me her baby and let me believe it was mine. I was going to raise her lie." I couldn't even speak. My throat was tight. My body was still, but my mind was racing. Kim hadn't just ruined a marriage. She committed fraud, destroyed a family, and played God with a child's life. I texted Kim that night. "We need to talk. Tomorrow. Noon. My lawyer's office. Come clean, or I will." Her reply? "Nice try. You're bluffing." I sent her the DNA result. Just the image. She didn't reply after that. The next day, she showed up. No sunglasses. No fake tears. Just raw panic barely hiding behind a smirk. "You did a paternity test?" "No," I said. "I did the paternity test. And your time's up." She didn't even try to lie. She just sat down and whispered, "So what now?" Rachel leaned forward. "Now? You step out of the custody agreement. Sophie is suing for full rights. And you'll face charges for medical fraud and falsifying legal documents if you fight it." Kim looked stunned. "You'd really do this to me?" I leaned in. "No, Kim. You did this to yourself." By the end of that week, Kim's world was crumbling in real time. The DNA revelation didn't just blow up our lives, it lit a fuse under everything she'd built. Sophie didn't just go after custody. She went nuclear. Her lawyer filed a full-scale suit for parental fraud, citing deception, emotional manipulation, and intentional misrepresentation of medical agreements. The story leaked. I didn't plan it, but with all the attention Kim had drawn to herself, it was only a matter of time. Someone from the clinic must have talked. Or maybe it was one of her supportive followers who saw the cracks and couldn't resist the drama. Either way, it hit the internet like wildfire. Surrogate mom scandal. Sister claims betrayal and secret pregnancy scheme. The tabloids ran with it. TikTok had theories. Twitter was vicious. Everyone had a hot take. The worst part? Some still defended her. She's just a woman trying to help her family. Men can't handle powerful women. You don't know the full story, but enough people saw the truth. Screenshots, documents, dates. They added up. And those who once called her hero were now calling her psycho. I expected her to run. Instead, she spiraled.